Hi guys, and welcome to Forge Right. Today I'm going to make a video of myself making a tool for my hardy hole. It will be a little bit different to other tools you may have seen on YouTube. Similar, but with a bit of a twist. I was going to make a fullering jig, much like the one I've seen John Switzer over at Black Bear Forge make, which is a great looking tool and a good design, functions very well. But as I don't like making videos that are effectively video logs of me copying other people's ideas, I thought I'd try and put a bit of a Forge Right twist to the design. I've set my mind to thinking about how I could make a combination tool which can be used for both fullering, butchering and making tenons. So hopefully I've come up with something, I won't say unique because there's not much unique these days in the way of tools, but different. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but unless I try, I'll never know. Bit of a warning, this is not a blacksmithing video as such. It's not going to be any forging in it. It's an outright fabrication video. So if you're not into metal fabrication, you're probably not interested in this video. But if you're interested in making a tool that can be used for blacksmithing, well, maybe you should stick around and see if I can come up with something good, or whether I just make a complete balls up and waste my time. Okay, so I better get into it. Okay, I've got both of them put over the wire wheel now, so both cleaned up pretty well. They're my joins. The next step is to figure out how to do the hardy hole pin, which becomes a neck for this to slide up and down on, and this to weld to. So I should say this is welded to there and slides up and down on the hardy pin. So I'm now going to cut myself a piece of 1-inch bar stock that'll drop down into here and stick up the appropriate amount. So if that's that and that's that, and I want it to open up at times up to about there, I probably need to come up a little bit higher than that, so I need a piece that will slide up at least that far and down in that far. So I'm talking maybe that long. What have we got here? We've got a piece there that is 150mm long, so if it went down to the bottom of my anvil and came up to the top of there, when that's up, 200mm is probably about right. Okay, so there's me bit of round. Okay, so there's me bit of square bar, cut off, cleaned up. That'll drop in the hardy hole. That will be welded to there, so that when it drops into the hole, it sits nice and square on the anvil and straight up and down, like so. And then this, or a piece like it, will slide up and down on here. Not that big piece, just a short section long enough to attach to there,
So now I've got to figure out how I make a piece of this fit squarely and tightly on there. So I want it to be able to sit in there, so I kind of have to fill these gaps, which means I'm probably going to have to cut it off, cut the corner out, drop it down, weld it back on. So that's my next task. Okay, she's cut off fairly neat. That looks now like it sits fairly snugly, smoothly along there and there. So now I'll cut it in half. Okay, so that should fit in there, and is going to slide up and down with a little bit of tightness, which is good because I can always just get the grinder, the flap disc on here, and clean the edges of these up so that it slides smoothly, because I don't want it to be sliding and moving about. So that'll be secure. This will slide up and down, but I don't want it to have wobble, so that the top fuller that comes off that moves about like that. Up and down is not so bad, side to side not good. So now I'm going to clamp that onto there and tack it, and pull the bar out and weld the rest of it up. Aha! I've just found the spatter on the side of my bar, so I'll get that off. Very good. That'll sit down as high as the hardy hole. That goes in there. That will be welded to it, and then when you lift this, it will slide up and down on that. I'm hoping it will be tight enough so that it doesn't move. If it's not, I'll make it tighter. Having thought about it, the best way I can probably get this to sit firmly in there is to put a mark on the bottom of here where I want it to sit, heat this up and give it a good hit, upset it, and once I get it upset enough, I can then taper it just a little bit, and it should stick in there quite nicely, drop down to there, and once I get it upset so it's tight, then I can weld that to there. Okay, I think it's time to try and upset this. Okay, now the idea is when I upset this bar is I'm trying to get the section closest to the top of the hardy hole the hottest. I'm not going to be able to control the heat enough to have it in a specific spot. I'd be using a torch to do it, but I'm out of oxy for the oxyacetylene. So I'm trying to keep the heat at the top of the hardy hole, so then when I hit it, it wants to bulge the most at the top, which will give me a wedge shape as it is. I don't mind it bulging a little bit at the bottom because it was a bit loose there as well, but I'm hoping to get more bulge about 2 to 3 inches up from the end of the bar than anywhere else. I reckon I'll use the big Zeeble hammer to try and get as much force on it as possible. Getting tied up. What I'll be trying to do now is I've got that bottom section about where I want it. So once I get it hot, I'm just going to take it out and dunk it in the water right on the end, so that I can not upset the very end too much. Try and get that movement to come up the bar a little bit. So I'll probably just drop the first inch into the water just to cool that down a little bit and get the movement upsetting in the second and third inch as much as possible. Good. That's upset quite a bit now in that section. Just try and straighten him out just a little bit. I should be able to heat the end of it up again now, make that into a bit of a wedge shape, drive the material back on itself into the upset until it starts to go in. Once I get it in a little bit, I'll drive it down. Going to work. want to get it down a bit lower first. So I might have to forge a little bit more taper into it before I finish driving it in. Trying to get a bit of a taper on the end there again. Just so my square tube will go back over, because she mushroomed over a bit, as it was to be expected with me bashing on it. That's probably going to about do it right now. That is the side that goes out that way. I'm going to put that on there. My touch mark. Sits in there pretty good. That will weld onto there once I've cleaned that up. And hopefully this still goes over. No, I'm going to have to run the grinder up and down there just a little bit again, just to make sure that gets over. Okay, not looking too bad. I've just cleaned up the bottom of that so it sits flatter. She had a bit of a wobble in it. Taking a little bit out of here so that it fits into the upset section down here. That will now go into there and be welded to there once that's tapped in nice and solid. That's still a bit warm, and that slides down there without too much play. The top section will be welded to there, and we'll slide up and down on that. Okay guys, well, that turned out pretty well. Here we have that piece welded onto the tube. Whether it's going to last very long, I don't know. It can always be cut off and a larger steel tube put on there if it does break, but we'll see. That's the bottom section, which I don't believe that's going to come off in a hurry. Okay, so drops into the hardy, nice and solid, sits down very, very tight. This slides in on the top all the way down to the bottom. Now, I was concerned at the start that when you got some hot metal and you've got it in your tongs and you're coming out here to put it in and position it, that you're going to have to let go of your hammer. Now she's a bit tight. Let go of your hammer, pick this up and drop it down. But because of the weight of it, you can pre-lift it and it just holds itself up. So then you come in with your tongs, no matter what size it is, so you can pick it up, put it there, come in with your tongs and your material, put your material into place, get it just in the right place, just lift the end and it drops down onto the material. So it stays in place. So I had something like that. Get it to where you want to do it, just touch the end of it, there it is, bang, away you go. Pick it back up again, let it go, she's off. Get it into a different position on a different die, so to speak, drop it down, bang, away you go. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay guys, just going to start trying to put the fullers, butchers into this top piece, then I'll transfer that onto the bottom piece. So I've taken a, where are we? I've taken a 60-degree butcher, 60-degree angle, transferred it over to my set square, and I'll use that to try and gauge a 60-degree angle. So I've taken a very small file here, very small triangular file, measured in 40mm 4 times, and I've put a tiny little line in there to separate the different butcher types, and I'll proceed to grind this one on that angle, this one on that angle, fuller. I might do 2 different types of fuller. I'll wait and see. If I decide it's not wide enough to do two different types of fuller, I'll just do the one and make it flat. Reasonably reasonably wide radius. So just a slight arc, not a big arc. Just give us a sec. Get that glare out of the background. That should give you a bit of a view of the angle that I've got it on. I don't know what's better to have. There you go, you can see what sort of an angle we've got there. I think you can. That looks better. Get that light directly off it. And that's about 60 degrees, so hopefully that'll do. Well, you know, 60, 61, 61 and a half. Pretty close for me. Okay, that's those two edges. Now I've got to decide whether I'm going to do one fuller. I don't think it's really wide enough, thick enough to have two different shapes of fuller, so I might just go with the one profile. Happy with that? There we go. Don't know if that's too close to see or not. Two butchers and one fuller. That'll do for now. I think that's giving a reasonable view. If not, I'm sorry. Now all I've got to do is transfer that to the bottom side. And we will be good to go. Okay, here we are after a bit of a grind on the fullering edges. So I'll just show you what I've got here. If I lift this up, we've now got matching edges. So we've got a 60 degree butcher on here, a 60 degree butcher on there. It may be 59, it may be 61, close enough I think. And just a fairly open radius fuller on these two, and this I'm going to leave at this point in time as a tenon. So effectively I can put it down to there. It holds itself up quite well. All I've got to do is lift the end and it drops down, so I can pick that up, set her about there, get a piece of stock, say I want to fuller it, drop it into there, give it a good hit, give it a roll, works well, that should be good. If I want to make a fuller, just pull her over to there, a butcher. I can butcher in from both sides here, so I've got a butcher on top and bottom, so that would do top and bottom at the same time. And if I wanted to go over and do another one here, I could then do the same thing over here. So that would isolate that bit and that bit, or vice versa. I could do it there and then pull it over to there. So you've got options as to whether you do the butcher on the far side or the butcher on the close side. You can also take this off altogether, and if you just want to do a single butcher, you can do it wherever you like on that side, fullering and tenon, or of course, as I just described, you can put this in and do both at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I've got to do now is heat treat these edges so that they last. I'm not sure how long they'll last, as it's a railway track, and I know it's higher carbon steel than mild steel, but I don't know how well it's going to heat treat and hold an edge. But unless you try these things, you'll never know. So there we have it. Pretty happy with that tool. Put my little touch mark in the top. That's the first touch mark I've made, and it's not really good quality, so I'm going to improve that, get my little file set out and try and make a decent one. Okay, there you have that one. Hopefully it'll work. I'll try and get this video edited up tonight or tomorrow and probably get it online on the weekend. Okay, thanks for watching Forge Right. Bye for now.